Joining me now is Joe Cirincione, president of Plowshares Fund, Global Security Foundation, author of Nuclear Nightmares, Securing the World Before It's Too Late, and David Sirota, syndicated newspaper columnist, contributor to Salon.com. All right, Joe, this argument that we need to ratchet up the sanctions and more pressure, what do you think of that?
Paul Wolfowitz does a wonderful job of calmly and softly presenting a completely crazy position. It's filled with value-laden words and hypotheticals and what-ifs and secondary considerations. This is the same guy who led us into a disastrous war with Iraq, and there's a group that are trying to do it again with Iran. And the question is, are we stupid enough to fall for it twice? But they are not interested in using sanctions to pressure Iran to make a deal. They don't want to make a deal with this regime. They want to overthrow it. It is a crazy position that will lead us once again to war.
David, in terms of the American people rejecting it or people not buying it, I think we've just seen a real sea change in public opinion. I just think that the ability to kind of use all that rhetoric that was so potent in 2003 has really drained out now. Do you agree?
I think you're absolutely right. I think that we've learned a lesson from Iraq that perhaps we had forgotten before that since Vietnam. And I think that we are moving into a stage in American life which I can't remember in my own lifetime, where a lot of the belligerence, a lot of the hyper-patriotism, a lot of the saber rattling that has marked so much of our war politics is just not working. And I think this is a good thing. I think the American public is more interested in the idea of what engagement can actually get us, in what making deals can get us, in what multilateralism can get us. I think this is a real sea change.
Is there a way, Joe, of thinking about these frameworks that doesn't rely on this idea that you're trusting the Iranian regime?
Oh, absolutely. Don't fall for that. This deal has nothing to do with trust. You don't trust a bank when you take out a mortgage. Labor doesn't trust management when they make a deal. You sign a contract. You have deals. You have actions in that contract, and that's what you got with this agreement between the UN Security Council, by the way. This is not a deal between the United States and Iran. The UN Security Council, including France, who was a hero to these guys just 10 days ago, they made the deal with Iran, and if they don't fulfill their terms, we have actions that we can take to pull the plug on any sanctions relief we've given them.
David, do you think there's going to be space opening up increasingly to push for something that looks more like a full peace agenda? And that's a phrase that is so far from our actual politics now, but is actually what I think you want a politics to embody, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you're right. Unfortunately, the word peace, it comes laden with all sorts of value judgments, negative value judgments in our politics. But I think that what this shows is that you can actually move towards actual peace. You don't have to call it peace. You can call it engagement. You can call it with all sorts of things like verification. You can use those terms. But I do think moving into a situation where the American public does not want us to be on a perpetual war footing, and that while we need to proceed carefully with Iran, we also need to understand that we can actually potentially make ourselves a lot safer for the long haul if we start engaging countries like Iran and other countries to dial down the anti-Americanism across the world.
Joe, quickly, are you optimistic about this deal the next 6 months?
I am. I think we saw an historic deal made over the weekend. I think we're seeing a geopolitical shift in the Middle East. Certainly it makes people uneasy, but it is definitely worth pursuing.
Joe Cirincione from the Plowshares Fund, David Sirota, investigative journalist for Pando Daily. Thank you. That is all in for this evening. The Rachel